Welcome to the Nexus Unloaded Podcast. This is Will Crozier.
And I'm Zach Congonis. We are here to bring you the best solutions to your lifting problems. Through our real-world experience, we hope to break things down in a digestible, applicable, and entertaining way.
How's the golf
I mean,
swing
that's why I
coming
said
along?
it.
Golf
How
swing.
is the swing?
The swing's all right. It's the consistency of the output of the swing that's not great, which is probably the swing.
That is golf though, right?
Yeah. I had my best round ever. I broke 90 for the first time.
Hold on, what does that mean?
I'll pretend that
I know absolutely nothing about golf.
So I like to put it into like the old Wilkes formulas and stuff. Like it's breaking certain thresholds is like how good you become.
Yeah.
So
Your handicap.
I reckon breaking 90 is like crossing 400 Wilkes. Like you're decent. A couple of years though, most people should probably get there within a couple of years. Yeah, I would imagine.
When I talk about powerlifters transitioning to the next sport, often you see powerlifters go to jiu-jitsu or something like that, and it always amazes me because you couldn't get something like worse. Like you're going from the stiffest, most rigid, non-moving sport.
Well, everyone just wants to be Chad Leslie Smith.
Where you're trying to go into this other sport where you're trying to contort your body and it's not about strength whatsoever. Golf is almost a similar bucket. Like it's not, but then
I wouldn't say I came from powerlifting.
I was about to say when we did our trip, I think you did only curls.
I was already on the downslope. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it is a bit of a weird transition. Like, what attracted you to go to golf?
I played golf growing up. From like 15, 16, I played a little bit of golf. Not competitive, just with mates. I bought some clubs. Would play with mum sometimes. Just went around. Just the local courses. So it was always in there. And then there's a golf driving range around the corner, MGA, from the gym. That's literally a 5-minute drive. And I used to go there as my like break from work. Yeah. And this was probably in the depths of my grind phase of building the business. Like I was literally working at a full client list, 50-something clients. I was unable to delegate because I didn't feel confident or comfortable doing so. So I was literally doing all of the business side of things, trying to grow our social media because I didn't have the money to outsource that. And like it was in the real grindy period of my career. The fucking hustle, man.
And it was your nature. You'll get out.
It was I just go out there and just fucking whack balls and then come back, and that was what I was doing. But then lockdown came, so I probably would have started then, which was just before our trip. Then the lockdown, because our trip sort of was about 3 months before lockdowns.
Yeah, right into it.
Lockdowns killed all of my... So I've always sort of played. It's always sort of been around, and I could always do it. This is the first time, though, where I'm fully addicted. I definitely have an addictive personality, and it has absolutely consumed my mental bandwidth. Yeah. My available mental bandwidth that I have for just other ideas and floating things is just golf. It's just saturated in golf.
Have you transferred your knowledge of strength and conditioning into that? Do you actually do training in here to complement?
No. I'm just training.
Just wing it?
I just train so I look like I train. That's it. Just slightly bigger than the average. If I can maintain that, I'm happy.
On a golf course, so you'd be huge.
Yeah, I'm pretty big out there. Yeah,
the big guy. I remember this is where Mickey might regret not having her mic turned on, but don't turn her on, don't turn on. Because I remember, she'll argue this for sure. But when I went golfing, last time I went golfing was the typical person's golfing, which is not really golfing. You go out there and just fucking swing and try and just, I don't know, just drink and hit shit around. And I went with a bunch of friends. And Mickey always brings it up and will say that she flogged everyone, that she's the best, that she absolutely annihilated everybody. Now, the first hole, the tee off on the first one, we're like, all good. It was like sprinkling down rain, not pouring, but enough to affect your grip.
Yep.
Everybody has a go. We none of us are any good, but Mickey steps up to the plate, confident as hell as she is, goes to swing it. The club goes way further than the ball. The ball went about 10 metres. The club, at least 20.
Down the fairway?
It was actually a good throw.
Good throw down the fairway?
But
we call that fairway golf. Well done. Fairway golf. Playing fair. It doesn't matter how it gets to the fairway. If you're on the fairway golf, man.
It doesn't matter
if it's hit a tree and come across on a 90-degree angle, or if it's on a different fairway. It doesn't matter. Fairway golf.
Have you ever done golf? Have you ever had a go?
I've played a little bit, but nothing proper. My dad loved it. They'd take us to a driving range every so often. I go up to Dakota sometimes, and I'm fucking horrendous. It's just bad.
Yeah, I can understand how people like if you're not willing to put the time in and you allow yourself to get frustrated that you're bad at it, I can see why some people just will never play. Like, you have to go through the frustratingly bad period to get anywhere with it. It's not like lifting where after 2 or 3 at least you could just jump on the machines and slam yourself, or you can just do like easy things. There's none of that. There's nothing. You go to mini putt, but that's boring as. Like, if you have to go through the period of being atrociously bad, to get to the point where you actually get some satisfaction.
The bandwidth of like how you can be good is so much smaller than powerlifting. As in powerlifting, you can do a half shitty squat, miss a few different cues, and kind of grind out a fucking terrible rep. Zach is perfect proof.
Yeah, there's a few out there.
But you can kind of get strong if you repeat it enough. The body's pretty adaptable. Whereas in golf, I can't even get off the ground. I'm
that's
just
what I mean.
Like
so,
1 meter high.
And we got fucking. And it'd be interesting to get your opinion on this. We got on our potty. We had Luke Lehman on, and Charlie just floating idea was like, powerlifting isn't that difficult. Like, it just really isn't. Like, the training's hard. We get that, and like, progressively lifting weights is difficult, but the actual like the crux of what powerlifting actually is not a difficult process.
I would say it's more difficult the longevity aspect, as in like to be able to do it at a high level for 10 years is difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's the longevity, the mental aspect to be able to stick to it, because let's be fair, it's quite boring. You got 3 lifts, squat, bench, deadlift, a lot of overuse injuries, a lot of that crap.
Yeah. Where golf is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Like, it's
the
not
skill aspect.
Yeah, it's not physically hard in any capacity other than like the skill of swinging the club, but the sport itself has completely different mental sort of.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different in powerlifting as well. There's no more is better, as in like I can train 4 sessions a week, couple of hours each session, and like I'm gonna kind of do really well with that. Whereas if I did double that, or if I train twice a day, there's no like, it's not really going to speed me up because I need recovery. Yeah. Whereas in golf, I imagine you can just sit there and just swing.
You could play 8 hours a day if you wanted to. Yeah, if your lower back can handle that much rotation, you'd be fine.
Yeah, mine couldn't. Mine couldn't handle one swing I pulled back.
You just imagine though that first time you hit a good shot.
Yeah, it's more when you can, where it's like, I want it to land over there, and you can actually land it over there. Like, you start to be able to do those things. You're like, I'm actually starting to. There's sprinkled in there some fucking trash. But when you can actually like, all right, I want to hit this 80 meters, and it's 75 meters. Like, all right, I'm starting to. Yeah. Which is where I'm at now. Like, I'm actually starting to be able to play some shots. And you
can upload it to Instagram finally.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that part of my life's sort of done.
At what point do you get the full outfit going? Because I mean,
I've got it now.
You got it? The full, because we did our research on the Royal Melbourne Golf Club. You need the visor. Of course. Yeah. You got the shirt tucked in, unless it's a Tommy Bahama.
I've got some stories. So my soon-to-be, or at some point father-in-law, is a member of we're engaged. I don't know when the wedding is. We have no plans for the wedding. But so soon-to-be, I don't know what the correct term there is. But he's a member of a really prestigious club, the National, which is down the coast. And you can only wear white socks. You can only wear white socks. You can't wear low socks. They must be like the mid-shin sock.
Yeah.
You must have your shirt tucked in. You can't have any like large logos. So like Gambaru, this is not allowed anywhere near it. You can't wear your hat indoors anywhere. They literally won't even talk to you. There's so many of these like just hardened rules in golf because it's so old. It's like 400 and something years old.
Yeah.
Laura and I are about to go to Scotland, and I want to play on like a 300-year-old course. Which is, I think, is just amazing. Like, it's a cool sport. I can understand how people have different likes and interests, but I think golf is amazing. It's cool. It's great.
What do you think about watching it?
Love it. Now that I understand it, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like, even though like I get powerlifting and I love powerlifting, and I still go like, holy shit, this is fucking boring.
This is the other thing that this is my powerlifting for the most part. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, the only real, like, Russell Orrehy at was not IPF Worlds anymore, USAPL Nationals or whatever the premier competition is for Russell Laurie here.
Yeah, he's going to win.
We know all of his training. We know he's going to be 40 kilos ahead of his next competitor.
Yep.
We know that his squat, bench press, and deadlift are going to be within 5 to 10 kilos of where he's at. And for him to surprise us, he has to fuck something up. Like, it's not going to be... Yeah, it's very rare that you get something that it's like, holy shit, that guy just lifted 30 kilos above what, at the top level, at juniors, at the local stuff, 100%, anything could happen. Anything could happen. But at the high levels, it's
super predictable.
It's quite predictable in how outcomes. And yeah, I get it. Like there's John Hack and Brett Gibbs from a few years ago where they were literally toe to toe, and it was like attempt selections mattered and all of that sort of, which still definitely happens. And but with other sports, it's not. Like, you could have an underdog in the AFL or whatever. Not that I watch AFL, but
we could have a fight and I just happen to hit a random haymaker on you.
Yeah, exactly. Like boxing, anything could happen. Golf, anything could happen. Someone could choke so incredibly bad in golf. Like Rory McIlroy just at the Open, and Cam Smith came up and passed him. Like, one of the biggest chokes ever in golf. Like, I just don't see that stuff really. Like, Russell's not going to come out and miss his opening deadlift, miss his second deadlift, and then
Isn't it misses opening and second bench, then opening and second squat?
Yeah, but what happened? The world sort of just realigned, and what was meant to happen happened.
I try my best to make it entertaining.
Unless the bar goes over someone's head.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as that happens, everyone's like, oh shit.
Yeah, like,
look at this.
I don't know. I personally just find golf fascinating. And I think because it's such a head game, like, literally anything could happen at any point.
And I can watch golf.
And they're freaks.
And I could watch them. I can watch a guy swing, and I can be like, oh, yeah, he's pretty good because it looks smooth. Whereas in powerlifting, if you don't know powerlifting, you can watch it. One squat, whether it's 60 kilo or 400 kilos, they're both going to look exactly the same. And it's like, oh, yeah.
Competence, yeah.
Like, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
But with the Royal Melbourne thing, it's, like you said, similar to what you were just saying, how they have ridiculous rules. Just such old rules. We were talking about, imagine if that happened in powerlifting. Like, they were that strict, like, you rock
uniforms.
up.
Well, the IPF tried to, and with it.
But it would just be insane.
I think someone should do it.
You need the culture. You need the history of it to...
They get,
have to wear polo and
do you think golf will change?
Socks?
Tennis is like...
They're trying to. So there's if anyone has seen any of it, there's this new... The backlash of it is it's the Saudi Arabian government has provided, I think, $2 billion to generate a rival to the PGA Tour. So the PGA Tour is the history of golf. Think about like the tennis, whatever they're all playing, the ATW or whatever. I don't even know what it's called, but like each sport has like the
governing
body that is like the crux. The NBA, the NFL, the AFL, like those sort of things. It's always been the PGA, and the Saudi government were like, we need to try to improve our global sort of brand, I guess. So we're going to start pumping money into some of these other outlets to show that we're supporting the opportunities for, and sport being one of them. And they've created this thing called LIV, the LIV League or LIV Golf, which is LIV. And they're paying players like tenfold what they're getting paid in the PGA. So they're all leaving the PGA to go and play this. And the backlash is that this new thing, this is the first season that's happened. But
they're not as strict.
Yeah, but it's also like you're going to go play for the Saudis. Like they still don't let women drive. There's like proper corruption in like the political systems, and like it's like completely the whole thing, the whole country or the whole area of those countries is like so corrupt and so everything, and they literally murder people and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's these golfers are like, but
cash.
I can make 120 mil and play half as many games, or I have to play every game because I have to try to win, and then I might win 10 mil, or I can just sign up to this and make 120 mil. And it's just like, so there's a huge thing at the moment with it all happening.
And they're trying to make it more entertaining. So they're going to have Happy Gilmore out there just fucking
they've made the competition smaller. So instead of 4 rounds, they're 3 rounds. They do what's called a shotgun start. So all 18 holes are being played on at the same time, where in the PGA, everyone moves from 1st to 18th. So the first group goes, then the second group. So it's really slow to get started. And then once it's rolling, it's good. Where the live goal. I don't know if anyone is still listening to this podcast because it's just golf. It's just one dude who's sitting there like fucking golf. But they're trying to do the same thing as every other sport. It just so happens to be the Saudi Arabians. That
it's like the cricket where brought in 2020 that try and.
Yeah.
We'll get back to powerlifting in some. Back to fitness.
I love golf though. I love golf.
I like listening to people talk about something they love. He fucking loves golf.
Yeah. I'm
learn something about Saudi Arabian golf federations.
Yeah, the live golf.
Yeah, I'm down.
It's huge. So talk about money. They offered Tiger Woods supposedly $900 million to play, and he said no. Phil Mickelson, because Tiger's like right now, he's like obviously he's Tiger, but
why would he say no?
Yeah, no, but his whole thing is like it's legacy now. Like it's just I've got to just keep rolling, keep winning, keep doing something to like really extend myself as like literally one of the GOATs, like proper top tier level guy. So he's been quite mature with his sort of like criticism of the new league, where some of the younger guys are just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go. But they offered Tiger like 900 apparently. Phil Mickelson he went across, who's in somewhat similar league as Tiger, been around for like 30, 40 years, like won so many.
I could see arguments on both sides.
Yeah, but he went I think for like 400 million.
There's an ethical argument. There's also $400 million.
Yeah, but these guys are already rich as fuck.
Yeah, but $400 million?
Yeah, I don't know. They're already like 100 millionaires or whatever.
Oh, yeah, they would be. Yeah. Tiger's a billionaire. Phil Mickelson's probably already worth 500 mil.
Doubled his net worth playing a couple of games in
Saudi.
Yeah,
exactly. Like one season or however many, he would have signed for a few seasons. But it's an interesting thing. And the same thing is happening with pretty much all sports in some level. They're trying to make them more entertaining because for whatever reason, humans just have this very short attention span. And is it social media or is it we just some of the traditions of when we only had certain things to give our entertainment to.
Yeah.
So like TV, all we could give it to was TV. So it didn't really matter what was on the TV. It was like that. But then the phone comes along and now we can split our entertainment across the TV and whatever. And then phone time goes up. And then the different social media. Like it's just, apps. I think there's just so many things that we can now do as humans because of ultimately technology that some of these long-serving...
They're trying to keep up.
Yeah, the businesses, corporations, companies are trying to adapt and modify what they're doing so that they can offer something slightly more entertaining for shorter periods or whatever it is. But
I mean, for sport, the easiest thing, like I've had this thought for a long time. So you got the Olympics, yeah? Then you can have the Super Olympics. I don't really want to see another person run 100 meters in 9 seconds?
Yeah.
I want to see some dude fucking do it in 5
seconds.
Legalize all drugs.
I reckon let them go.
Let them go.
100%.
And just... That's how you get eyes on things.
It's only a matter of time.
Juice everyone up.
I reckon it's only a matter of time. But I reckon they will block media covering what they're allowed to take. I reckon it will. Yeah. I reckon it will change.
I mean, they're already doing it.
Someone said, I think it was on a Joe Rogan thing. It's like at some point we're going to have these freaks outside of sport that are more entertaining than the people in the sport itself.
In weightlifting already.
Yeah.
Like you see it, like the guys on the outside.
Who's the
Russian guy?
Klokov.
Yeah, he's just like slamming massive weights in the.
But even the guys in the sport, I don't know if Olympic weightlifting is the best example. Because
everyone gets so butthurt. Like, no, they're all drug free. They've all been banned multiple times.
Matt, have you? Yeah, well, they pulled it out of the Olympics.
Did they?
To say the same about any sport, though. In golf, I'm sure there's hella doping.
Olympic weightlifting is like a special breed. Apparently, like every gold medal from like from the super heavyweights or one of the divisions, like one of the major men's divisions has been stripped from like the last 20-something Olympics from retrospective drug testing, as in they keep samples and they catch them later.
Yeah, of course.
And then they just swoop them. And someone from like 7th place won gold one year. Like it's just like, what's going on here? Angus Bradley knows a lot about all those specific things because he follows weightlifting.
I mean, I hate to bring Broderick into this, but Broderick is adamant that every single sport from darts to golf to weightlifting to every chess, like video games.
Speaking of chess, did you hear that there's an AI chess robot?
And it broke
a kid's finger.
I saw the video.
wait, what?
Yeah.
I haven't seen this.
I haven't seen the video, but it's like an AI robot.
Yeah.
That moves the pieces, and it was versing a kid, and it snapped his finger.
Yeah, grabbed it.
Like, shit, knights can't move that way. Fucking.
That's too smart. He's built in. He's like, hey, I'm gonna fuck this kid up.
I'm sick of this game. I know how to end it sooner.
Well, that's the whole. It's the whole like, is AI going to eventually just take over?
Do you think it will?
I don't know.
I'd love to hear your opinion on the progression of AI.
I'm all for it. I'm all for like just innovation and moving forward and stuff. I think I don't see. Did you see the robot? You know Boston Robotics?
Those scraping the
the little dog things that can literally just run around or whatever. Did you see the one they strapped an AR to the top of it, and it was running around a shooting range and just firing, and it looks like a puppy because it's just on all four. It's obviously a robot, but it's got like an M16 on top of it, and it's been welded in a way that it has a trigger. The guy who's got the controls has a trigger.
He's just playing Call of Duty.
No, that's it. With this robot dog with a gun strapped to it. It's like, this is going to happen. And it's going to start with military, and it's going to start with like, oh, we need it for defense or whatever. But eventually things will get privatized. Then all of a sudden, shit's going to be out there. I don't know.
You just got to make sure they just stay plugged in. If they fucking lose their mind, just plug it out.
That's it. You need like a kill switch or something. I don't know. I'm all for innovation though. I think, I reckon we'll end up with like something like chipped in us or whatever. So. Apparently they've already got that.
It's already happening.
Door entry swabs and stuff. Like you can swab things.
I mean, people have got their phones attached to them.
Yeah, well,
100% of the time. It may as well be fucking welded into your hand at this point.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be. I don't know if it's going to be like glasses and like all that shit. But there'll be stuff. 100% there'll be stuff.
I'm down for it.
I'll
happily get a chip.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already got one.
What would you get in there?
This one.
Will's Bluetooth enabled.
yeah.
What other, if you could download features onto it though, what would you want on there?
I don't know. Just I also think it would fuck us up in the way that you mentioned with social media before.
Yeah, but has social media fucked us up?
No, but I mean like we're so distracted and so short-sighted that it would be more like now I can literally just
download information.
Fucking see everything at once, and like my brain can go way faster than my hand. So like I can do 8 different tasks at once, and it would just be
well.
This
is what Elon Musk. One of his things is there's gonna be a point where you can literally just download information.
But how short's your attention span at that point?
It's just in you. So like, if just say like China gives it the all clear, and they say we're gonna let our certain subgroup that they control and they allow to have access to it. But then all of those people are literally just going to like flick a switch and become superhumans. The Americans are going to have to do the same. Like it's going to get to a point in the same way. If one country has nukes, well then everyone else has to have nukes. So you can at least defend. If there's a nuke attack, it's just like a suicide button almost. It's like if you're shooting one, we shoot it and we're all fucked. So like there needs to be, if one country allows it, which someone is going to, it's probably going to be China. The other countries are going to have to do something. So, I don't know. I see it only happening in one way. I could sound completely naive about this whole thing, but I think it's going to just...
But at some point, like, who's not going to want to be the mecha dude with Google in your head?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, sure, you're going to give up certain freedoms and certain... Google's in your head.
We already do it, though. Like, you Google that. What's the definition of that? Like, we just have to manually put it through the...
It's a bit slower.
It's a bit slower. Like, I think, plug me in.
So, on the short... to get us back to fitness in some way... we were talking about short attention spans and fucking TikTok versus Insta versus Facebook versus whatever. At the moment, strength culture has gone... Like we did a podcast on your podcast talking about our experience in America, and then since we've gotten back, our brands have developed massively.
It's been a couple of years.
We've gone... I would say both of our brands have hit strides and lots of different new things and evolved. But at the moment, strength culture has, I don't know whether you'd call it like completely like changed direction but just a slight
We fundamentally changed.
But there is definitely there
was a decision. Yeah.
Where was the decision to go like down this? I call it like clout route.
Clout route. That's fine. That's an accurate. That's an accurate description.
But more chasey. Like, was there a point where you realised
a lifestyle brand?
Yeah, we want to grow our brand. We want to grow it past. So like internally, like within our meetings and stuff, like we really think we have the mix, and the push to quote unquote break out of strength. We just don't want to be like, it's strength culture. We get that, but but the crux of what we've always done has been so much more than just strength training or powerlifting, like the coaches that come on board with us, like young coaches and stuff, they realize who we are and like what we actually enjoy and like who we are as people. And it's like none of us are really like diehard like strength enthusiasts or anything like that. Like I'm definitely not. I really just train now to just enjoy it, and I want to play golf. I enjoy golf more, and like Charlie powerlifts, but also like he's got a whole bunch, and this is not to say that other coaches don't. It's just that if we were feeling the way we were feeling after 3 or 4 years together and we were just hammering strength training and like this technique does this and this muscle does this and like all that education stuff, I was like, if we're feeling this after 3 years, what's it going to be like in 5 or 6 years when we've developed it further and then all of a sudden we just have to keep pushing that? Whereas we're trying to open it up. We want to open up what we're doing and we want to be like, you know what? We like eating some fucked food. Let's just start filming it and just showing that. And that's the Hectic Eats thing. And then like the clothing route, like Donnie and Jamie especially, and they've influenced Charlie quite significantly. And myself and Didier to a lesser degree, but like clothing and streetwear and all that is like a big part of their lives. So we're like, all right, well, how can we leverage that a little bit and like bring that into our brand? And then I actually first felt it when we were in Hybrid in Miami.
Yep.
And we went in there and I was like, this gym's sick. And then like you look at their social media and like, yeah, it's heavily strength training, but they do so many, like when Steffi started fighting, all of a sudden they became like this like S&C style thing. And then it sort of was like evolving as they were evolving. They've got the Hybrid Unlimited with their clothing style. Like they've just got all these different arms to what they do and offer. And and
they're
I was
still
like,
fundamentally fitness.
Yeah, exactly.
At their core.
But they've got so many different little things around them, and I it's just like I think I look at Australian industry, and we're definitely like less mature than the American industry, but in terms of like brand development, like we don't have people like Cressy, Mike Boyle, DeFranco, like guys that have been around for 20 years. Like they're starting to. Especially like Woodford's like 11 years in now or something. Yeah. Like Athletes Authority, Core Advantage from the S&C sort of the world. And then like the powerlifting stuff like yourself, Zero, I'll put us in there. Yeah. Like there's a few brands that are like starting to sort of find their foundation and find some maturity in what they're doing. But I really
just working it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're just working it out. That's how I would say it. It was we've decided that what we were doing. It's a really ranty answer, but we decided what we were doing was not going to service us in 2, 3, 4 years' time. Mm-hmm. It was probably more of an egotistical thing that I wanted to become like Australia's leading education thing, and I just forced the guys to sort of follow my journey. Where after COVID, and I realized that these guys are in this just as much as I am. What do they want out of this stuff as well? Like, how can we get all of this happening together? Then it was a decision to be like, all right, well, maybe we do need a change.
You want to use everybody, the whole team's strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
For what they're actually good at, rather than force them into a hole.
Yeah, we want to show our personality more.
The only reason I kind of asked that was in America we did, and we talked about this on yours, we did Zach Couples' course, we did Pat Davidson's course, and they were like, well, Zach especially was very clinical, like movement, fucking textbook, and Pat a little bit less, but still very, very heavily, very niche, very specific, very deep in the weeds. And then you kind of mentioned COVID there, but I think that definitely just span everything out of control. But like, it's just funny that we went over there, did these really niche courses. Yeah.
Expansion and compression. It sounds stupid, but the Bill Hartman content that just consumed it, there was like a 6-month period there where everyone was just, and he had like these, I don't want to call it, like they were just like disciples, for lack of a better term. Yeah. And everyone was just like 16%. Expansion. Yeah. Everything was just expansion, compression. And me and you went over there to try to, not to understand it. We obviously went over there for a whole bunch of things, but we did these seminars and we were coming out more confused, being like, what are these terms? Like,
you know what?
I'm like, and it got to a point where I was like, everyone is just feeding off this same, like no one really knows what the fuck's going on.
I actually remember in Miami, we were sitting at our Airbnb talking about just trying to get our fucking heads around it because we're still confused. And then I remember you put out like, I'm fucking sending Bill an email. And you sent Bill this like email of like, what the fuck are you talking about, Bill?
Explain this one thing because we just couldn't understand. And
I still don't fully get it. I think I understand what it means, and we say things in a different way, and it really doesn't fucking matter. But it's just funny how, we went over there, we did that. another part that really opened my eyes over there during that trip was during Zach couple, and this is a bit of a dig at the people in it, but when they won't listen to this. When we did Zach's course, like me and you, I felt like the only people in the room that lifted, even though, like you said, you only kind of did curls over there.
I was on the decline.
But discrepancy in meat in the room.
Yeah, I was just like, fuck, something's wrong here. Like, I swear,
it's more clinicians, yeah.
And these clinicians...
Which is not a bad thing.
No. Yeah. But these movement professionals, these people that are teaching people to improve their hip extension or whatever, we get them up on the table. They don't have hip extension. Nobody has hip extension. And I'm like, fuck, we're tracing this thing that
doesn't matter.
Clearly doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Because if these guys can't move, how am I going to get 170 kilo fucking Luke Polly to improve his hip extension?
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. There was a really weird period of the industries, and granted, it's not the whole industry, but the people that I look up to and the guys that I sort of, not all of them, but there was a few like figureheads that I was like, if I'm feeling this way, and I've got pretty good experience with like PRI, just
definitely
like
more than most.
Yeah, textbook anatomy, like all of that sort of stuff. I'd like to say I know what I'm talking about. And this new system comes in and I'm confused to the gills with, and then it would literally be that Bill would put up a video and he'd say one new thing, and then within like a week, this new thing had just filtered through everything. And I was like, what is happening here? Like it just became this, and I was like, I don't know. I don't want to, and I didn't want to get caught up in it. So I just really pulled back, and I was like, I think I'm just going to sit back and feel just observe a little bit more. And that's sort of what I've done in the last sort of 12, 18 months.
I think
it coincides with my mentorship as well. But
I was about to say, let's pivot to that a bit, because we do our mentorship. Nexus does. We do ours is more niche. We do. Ours is like powerlifting coaches who want to get better at powerlifting. It's very specific to powerlifting, but we wrote out a list of things and just said, this is what I think strength coaches, powerlifting coaches who want to get better at powerlifting need to know. And then kind of looked at that list and went,
whittled it down a bit.
What isn't directly going to make him a better coach?
Yeah.
Like, sure, understanding your fucking deep level anatomy, it's going to make you a better coach in a long form way, but not today.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? Or not next week, or not even
for them to know.
Absolutely.
So we just kind of whittled it down to as what we thought was absolutely necessary, jammed that into 12 weeks, and that's what we are left at. And then when I wrote that was when my head started to click into being confused from all that other shit.
Doesn't matter.
Well, not it's not that it doesn't matter. It's that it's kind of like
it's not always relevant.
It's not always relevant, and they're all the same shit. Like I can say early stance, mid stance, late stance. I can say compression, expansion. I can say them whatever the fuck way I want. At the end of the day, I'm teaching a guy to squat a barbell, and I don't know.
It doesn't have to be that.
It feels like sometimes we're impressing each other more.
Well, that's what ultimately I think a lot of it does come down to that. Is that we're looking for validation from our peers for how much. I definitely have been through that with the style of content. I spoke to Jordan Shell about this, but there was a time where I really thought I could, with my Instagram post, fundamentally change the way Jordan Shell views movement.
Yeah.
And I was making
stability.
This whole stability thing, and then at the end of it, and like I love Jordan. I think he's a fucking incredible person. He pushes, he motivates a hell of a lot of people, and like he's built a crazy business and all of this. And for me to sit there and be like, I can make these posts, and like eventually he's going to realize that everything he's doing
is wrong.
Yeah, and like I look back at it now, and I'm just like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, what am I doing?
But at the end of the day, who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Because Jordan and you could coach a person, I can guarantee you.
But it's going to be the same fucking thing.
You're going to get results.
Yeah. And it's just going to be the language that you use to sit more on your heels, a little bit more early stance. Let's try and get some more expansion. Like, it's all the same thing, and the outcome is going to be so often, or what is actually like the meat and potatoes of what happens with clients and what truly gets outcomes is the same across the board. And we say this on our potty, but the fundamentals of strength training haven't changed.
No, it's all the same shit.
Go back to even Arnold's. Like Arnold, when he, like the 70s and 80s or whenever he was coming up with training, it was the same. It was big compound lifts, close to failure, hard training. If you feel like you're recovering, do more, train more, eat enough to fulfill the fucking process of growing. Like all of that is the crux of it hasn't changed. Maybe, all right, we understand volume landmarks a little bit better.
Or maybe they just didn't know. They knew that, hey, this works.
Yeah.
And then,
seeing progress and results.
And now we know, I can tell you why.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, whereas back then it's like, oh, fuck it works. Fuck it, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Like, it's still, with how much has even gone forward in our industry, especially in the last 10 years as we've transitioned into, and I'm hoping somewhat out of this, like, really true evidence-based era, I think we're coming out the other end where some logic is starting to come back in. It's like some of this stuff that we've been talking about just isn't practical.
No, we're just waiting for the new 3-letter to come out.
Oh, there will be something else.
As soon as there is.
Yeah, there'll be something.
On it.
But I'd like to think that we're coming back to more of a practical era of like, do the things you enjoy, do the things you that you find work well for you and all of that, and put more eggs in those baskets.
With a fundamental, like, I'm not saying just wing it randomly.
No,
but
not
just,
at all.
You know, understand the fundamentals. And that's, we compressed it into 12 weeks, like I was saying, for the mentorship. I've noticed in your new, what is it, version 2?
Yeah, so
version 3? I don't know, whatever the new mentorship is, like 4 weeks.
Well,
so you've jammed in.
No, it's
8 weeks, but business. 4 weeks of strength, like
4
principles.
4 weeks of like your skill set and 4 weeks of your business.
So you've dwindled it down to 4 weeks of like just fundamentals, specific, like
I wouldn't even go that. I've skipped complete topics.
Okay.
So nutrition is something that obviously is imperative to long-term results. I think we can all assume and agree with that.
Yeah.
But I've decided to completely skip it. Why? Because I wanted my mentorship to be what's important to me and what got me to the point that I currently am. And I wanted initially, and nutrition is not one of, it's not something I've ever really put effort into. I know how to track macros. I know how to educate somebody that, hey, you need to eat more protein and space it around the day, and palm sizes and thumb size for fat and all of that, the little different strategies that you can use with people. I understand all that. But for me and my progress in the industry, it has never been a pillar that I've given a fuck about. It just hasn't been.
Gallon of milk a day.
Yeah, exactly. It just hasn't been. So the CDP and we'll call it the first iteration of my mentorship, it became an anatomy and physiology course. It became a university course because I was caught up in that evidence-based era where I had to go break everything back down to the mechanistic reasons why things, the hard science of why things work, and then layer on top of it until you get to the practical sort of application for a strength coach.
Yeah.
So for things like motor control, and what I feel like that whole stability thing is, which I think is just a deficit in skill. You're just not skillful enough to be able to repeat the effort of what you're doing. It started with, all right, let's learn what efferent and afferent feedback is and what proprioception is and how all of these systems work and the neurology of it and the physiology and how a motor unit is fired and all of this, and then start to layer on like, all right, how can we develop skill and bring in skill development sort of theory and then layer it, and then what would this look like in a program? All right, we're going to be doing some low RPE stuff across the week, different exercise sort of variation, so we get a good broad skill first and then layer on some specificity after that. And that's how the program, and I built this 12-week course and it was great.
Yep.
I had a bunch of fucking students come through. I had heaps of people say that this is really good. It's what uni never taught us and all of this, and it was fantastic.
Yep.
But then I come back to it and I finished it and I said, but that's still not what was important. That didn't get me to being where I am in the industry. What are the specific blocks that I think got me to where I am? And that's what I've created now. So it's less of a course. It's not a course at all. It's my mentorship. Yeah. It's the shit that I think is important. I don't care about, I'm not talking about fucking, so like even PRI and stuff. I'm just not going to talk about it. I think it was an important process for me as a coach, but fundamentally it didn't get Melbourne Strength Culture to where it is.
So what's your short-term pitch for it? Because like I said, ours is, hey, powerlifting coaches, you want to get better at being a better powerlifting coach? Come to our mentor. What's the goal?
The goal is if you're interested in any capacity of what Melbourne Strength Culture is and why we believe and do the things we do, come and do my mentorship. That's it.
Okay.
That's literally it.
Tie it into the brand, like you said.
Like
you want the brand.
That's just what it is. It's the shit. If you think if at any point you've seen stuff that I do and have questioned why you think that way or do that, come and do my mentorship, and I'll explain the important things for me and my business growth and me as a coach of what it is. So my hard skill set, week 1 is programming. I think you have to understand programming at a pretty fundamental level to get there. Week 2 is I call them lenses, but they're the major models through which I look through.
Yep.
So when I analyze something, these are the things that I go, all right, let's put it in this lens, a BPS model. It's an important lens to understand of why someone believes and acts in the way they do. Mm-hmm. I also use like a top-down, bottoms-up sort of strategy. Like, yeah, we need a plan, but we also need to be completely flexible in how we're going to approach and move through that process. It's the same with business. It's the same with training. And then the constraints-based model, which is literally like your environment and the tasks which you build out in front of a person will dictate how successful they are. And if you put the wrong thing in front of them, you squash their ability to perform. If you build the right framework and strategy for them, you can let them flourish, but they also flourish themselves through the process. You've allowed them. So that's like week 2. Week 3 is biomechanics chat, but it's really just the understanding of center of mass. I think PRI can be broken down to center of mass. I think early, mid, late stance can be broken down to center of mass. I think a lot of what I hold true for biomechanics and movement perspective is literally just understanding what center of mass is doing, where it's moving, why it's over there, how to move it back in this direction, how to elevate it, how to make it lower.
Yeah, that's how we teach technique.
Yeah. It's
for squat, bench, deadlift. Hey, your back's rounding in deadlift. Guess what's probably off?
Where's the mass gone?
Yeah.
It's moved away. It's gone somewhere. Your body has had to counteract it with some form of movement, extension. So yeah, like it's all just the important shit for me.
Yep.
The key principles that I've taught and think that have allowed us to move in the way we have from a brand perspective. And then there's the whole business side as well. So, yeah, which is the same process.
Super important as well.
Yeah, I used to do all this stuff. When I built my short course of business, I put a lot of sales-based things in there. Like some sales theory and like how to like navigate a conversation, all that.
Sales, marketing.
But then I got to the end of it and I said, but I've never actually implemented this stuff. Not that I've never implemented it. I understand it and I can use it. But for us, our brand has done the selling. People, when they engage with us and they send us a DM, hey, I'm interested in coaching, there is no selling. It's, hey, let's talk about your program. What are you going to do? Blah, 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 blah. Like it just never was that. So I was just like...
Yeah, marketing and sales is such a dirty terms. I think me changing my view on what they actually meant completely just is how I learnt that stuff.
So it's just I've just boiled things back down to the shit I find important. Yeah, and I think that there are people that will be incredibly valuable to them, and I'm really interested to see how this first intake goes because it's completely different to anything I've done before. But I'm not, and if you go on the website, it literally just says Jamie Smith's mentorship. That's literally what it is. Because when I went through Woodford, I did Christian Woodford's mentorship.
Yeah, you learned what he did.
Yeah, but I didn't do his course. I didn't do his like Cert 3-4. I just trained at his gym and had conversations with him and the shit he was teaching me about and blah, blah, blah. I'd then go and do my own research on, come back, ask him more questions. And then I did a mentorship with Christian Woodford, but it wasn't a formal thing. Mm-hmm. Same thing when I went to Eric Cressy. I was over there and there was a little bit of pre-learning that we had to do just so we didn't look like completely floundering idiots when we got out there. But once we started, it was literally the thing built and evolved as we were in there. There wasn't like week 1 we do this, week 2 we do this, week 3 we do this, week 4 it wasn't a course. It was a mentorship. So I want Jamie Smith's mentorship. That's what it says on the website.
Yeah, and you're always tailoring to the people, like looking at what do you suck at?
What does the group want to do? We do that with our interns.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first 6 weeks is structured and you get the framework that you need to at least have a conversation with us at a detailed level that you could actually begin to make progress. Mm-hmm. So you learn all the principles, you learn all of that sort of stuff. But the second half of our in-house internship has never been structured. It's what does the group want to do? Where do we want to go? All right, we want to do a little bit more nutrition. Let's do a little bit more nutrition. Oh, you want to do a little bit more biomechanics and a little bit deeper biomechanics. Oh, let's talk about gait. What does gait look like? How can we use gait as a lens or whatever? Like, it's always been more fluid. And then when I built that course, it was just so rigid and it was uni. I was like, what have I done?
Yeah.
I got to the end of it. I was like, this is great, but I don't want to do this.
Do you feel like there was a personal part missing of it as well? Like you said, do you think that's also what made you like that?
I burnt myself out without a doubt, but that was all with COVID and everything else.
In our latest one, we chucked in a check-in for people to do. Same as a coaching.
In my first one.
Yeah, and we thought that made it much more useful because people would go like, here's the coursey stuff, here's the videos, here's this, and then they would go, I didn't quite get this.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get that.
Or I think you need more of this.
Yeah,
like,
or they said,
that rabbit hole.
I'm having this thing with my client, like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, go back and watch that and then come and talk to me and then we'll work it out together type thing like that. That's the part I enjoy, and I thought it was really useful for us. Now I've got to throw over to Zach here because Zach, we need an intro music for this type of stuff, but Zach wants to ask his hard-hitting question.
I mean, I asked Domini, the one that I asked Domini in the mentorship. I can't ask that one here. But I'll ask a rendition. I'll tell you when we stop recording.
Variation.
So the hard-hitting question for you today is kiss, marry, kill.
Yeah.
You got Donnie.
Wait, kiss, marry,
kill.
All right, yeah. Not the one that I normally know, but yeah, all right, yeah.
You could go that.
Okay, fuck, marry, kill.
All right, yeah.
You got Donnie.
Yeah.
You got Stupus. And you got Dids. Fuck, marry, kill. You changed kiss.
You couldn't. I don't think you can marry Stupus. He's too...
hectic, wild.
But you'd fuck Stupus. That'd be a wild time. That'd be a wild time.
Yeah,
yeah. You'd want a one night with Stupus, I reckon. Okay. And then I got Donnie and Didier. Oh fuck! I got to kill one of them.
That's tough. That's the worst part about this game is you're always gonna throw somebody under the bus.
I know, but I'm just so happy that fucking Stupus came out so quickly.
It's just because Stupus is a good time. He's just a wild bloke to be around. He's so much fun. Yeah, like not to say the other boys aren't, but Stupus is just in another level of his own.
I've never seen him in a bad mood.
No, he's the best.
Oh, hey guys, just crashed my car. Let's fucking go. Yeah.
Nah, Stupus is number one. I don't know. I don't want to kill any of them, but
if you married Donnie, then all your video editing's free.
Yeah. Donnie's a bit younger though, so like it becomes like I've groomed Donnie to be in a relationship.
Marrying yourself.
Not marrying myself, but it's like I've groomed him. I've built him up to like a point where then I can,
it's going to be a current affair's going to come up to you.
Yeah. I reckon I'm going to marry Didier, unfortunately.
Sorry, I saw him downstairs. So you can go and apologise after.
Yeah.
Or you know.
I don't want to kill Donnie though. I just don't.
Nah.
I'm not killing Donnie.
I guess Donnie and Stupus can...
It's just a standstill outcome.
Can I have a threesome?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Right. So, Jesus Christ.
There we go.
Where is this led?
Is that the hard-hitting question?
That was it. That was the whole thing.
Is there a branch off that?
No, I mean, we could talk more about Stupus's sexual proclivities, but I might leave that there.
Stupus is the man.
Yeah, all right.
Shouts out to
Cool.
Stupus.
Unless you have any other hard-hitting questions, I think we leave it there.
No, that was it. I'm happy with that.
We're good. Let's go train downstairs. But thanks for being on.
No worries at all. Thank you for having me.
Talking about golf for a good half or whatever it was.
Of golf.
I love that. I'm sure the people will enjoy it.
Yeah.
Hit us up with your golf questions and we'll get to it.
Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you for listening to Nexus Unloaded. Be sure to jump on our website to find details on everything mentioned on today's podcast, plus information on our coaching, mentoring, and gym services. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at nexusperformance.aus for any updates on what we are currently doing. See you all in the next episode.